Hello, my name is Christer Sveen and I'm the art director on Dreamfall Chapters. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about our in-game character models. I finally had some time to sit down and revisit our work in progress Zoë model, and I'll show you some quick tweaks that we can do to make Zoë look slightly closer to what she did in Dreamfall. So here's the model of Zoë that I created in Dreamfall in 2003, and as you can see, we had to take a slightly cartoony approach to our characters back then. We also had to port the game to Xbox One, which meant that we couldn't really put as much detail into the characters as we would have wanted. So that's one of the areas we really want to try and improve on for Dreamfall Chapters. If we take a look at human facial anatomy, we see that the muscles are laid out in a very specific manner, and this is something that we'd like to try and replicate in our models, which will give us much better expressions and emotions and tell the story in a much more believable way. So if we come back to our new Zoë model, we can see that the lines in our paint over correspond pretty well to the lines on Zoë's new face. Next up, we'll start tweaking her face. I've set up some quick blend shapes for different parts of her head, and we're going to try and apply those to the model and see what happens. So let's get started. First we're going to change the shape of her head a little bit. We're going to make her head a little bit more narrow and slightly sharper chin. Let's open her eyes a little bit. The original Zoë has slightly bigger eyes. Next up, the nose, make it slightly longer. And then finally, let's tweak the mouth shape a little bit. And there you go. Next up, we'll look at Zoë's textures. As we can see on the image on the left side, we can see that Zoë has a bit more contrast in her face, and the shading in her eyes is a bit stronger. Her eyebrows and hair and lips also needs to be a bit more contrasty to look closer to what she used to look like. So we're going to change her complexion slightly. Next up, we'll add a little bit more contrast to her lips and define the outer lines a little bit more. We'll also darken the hairline a little bit, again to add more contrast and make her look more like she used to. Also the eyebrows and the shading around the eyes, we'll darken those just a little bit. And finally we'll add just a little bit more skin detail and coloration to her face. Okay, so let's go back to the 3D model and apply the texture. And that's it. Definitely feels more like Zoe. And here's a side-by-side comparison of what she looked like before we started and what she looks like after. And that's it for this time. Please keep in mind that all the graphics that you see are placeholder and very much work in progress. And they will be tweaked and polished throughout the entire production. And we'll keep working on it until it feels right and meets our artistic goals and technical ambitions. Lastly, I'd just like to say thank you for watching and thanks for the fantastic support on the campaign.